So this page is a chapter of our human development book. This is from chapter 3. So I'll just read a section of it. So this chapter is about the birth of a newborn child. So the title says Cultural Variations in Methods for Easing the Birth. So um, from reading this title, I can think of different ways on how different cultures can ease the birth of a child. Maybe it would differ drastically from developing countries to developed countries. We've read about those two kinds of countries in the previous pages of this portion of the book. And so, in continuing, as described earlier in the chapter, scientifically based medical assistance in the birth process is a recent development. Historically, and is still not universally available. So I actually didn't understand anything I read. As described earlier in the chapter, scientifically based medical assistance in the birth process is a recent development. Historically, and is still not okay. So, from my understanding, um, the things we use to assist birth are modern and new, and so not all of the people in the world have access to it. Continuing, consequently, cultures have devised many traditional methods of attempting to ease the birth process. The methods vary, but there are certain common themes. For example, the strategies begin long before birth. As noted in chapter 2, upon reading this phrase, strategies begin long before birth, I can think of this picture. So there's two women who's apparently the older woman who the, seems like an older woman is, I don't know, touching or massaging the face of this young lady right here who is pregnant. Maybe that's some kind of their culture's belief that maybe if you massage your face, something will happen to the birth of the child. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing, but it does look like that. Um. Okay. So, as noted in Chapter 2, often the role of midwife includes prenatal visits every few weeks beginning in about the fourth month of pregnancy. When visiting the prospective mother, the midwife typically gives her an abdominal, abdominal massage. So maybe this is what's happening in the video. Not really, focus. Maybe it just looks like that the massages focus on the mother's face or the soon to be mother's face, but actually it's on the stomach or the abdominal part of this woman's body. As reading from this phrase right here. This is believed to make the birth easier, and it also allows the midwife to determine the position of the fetus. So this we know that this is the midwife. If the fetus is in the breech position, I've read this from the previous pages. This means that the baby is turned upside down, which is an unusual, not unusual, but some kind of mistake, or it's not normal. That's the word I'm looking for. Not normal. She may not, or she may attempt to turn it. So by massaging, she can actually attempt to turn the baby so that the baby's head is facing towards the woman's uterus, not towards, um, pointing to the woman's upper body. In addition to massaging the pregnant woman's abdomen, the midwife often gives the mother herbal tea. So, um, I think herbal tea, from reading this, is actually helpful, scientifically, not only in a culture's belief. That's what I think, because there are scientifically proven tea or herbal medicines that have worked. So, herbal tea intended to prevent miscarriage and promote healthy development of the fetus. She also gives the mother advice on diet and exercise. So, from reading the word diet, um, Diet Coke just randomly came into my mind. In many cultures in Asia and South America, foods are classified as hot or cold. Cultural definition not on the basis of whether they are actually hot or cold. And the mother is forbidden from eating hot foods. These food classifications have no scientific basis, but they may help to reassure the expectant mother and enhance her confidence going into the birth process. So, from reading this sentence right here, I imagine different countries having this kind of beliefs. So, like South America and especially in Asia, from where I'm from. So I can imagine my ancestors telling maybe my mother or other maternal figures in my family to stop eating hot food or cold to or I mean hot food to avoid eating hot food to avoid miscarriage. When the woman begins to go into labor, the midwife is called and the expectant mother's female relatives gather around her. So I can from reading this I imagine my family in a hut, whereas actually um, my mother gave um my mother what do you call that? My mother gave birth to me in a hospital, not in a hut, but somehow that just came into my mind, that imagery, for some reason. Sometimes the midwife gives the mother to be medicine intended to ease the pain of labor and birth. Many cultures have used herbal medicines, but in the Ukraine, traditionally the first act of the midwife upon arriving at the home of a woman in labor was to give her a generous glass of whiskey. So I think that is rather weird to give a pregnant woman whiskey, because we know from recalling the other things we've learned that alcohol is bad for the mother. So I think I'm I'm past 3 minutes, so I'll just stop there.